It is 12:30 on Thursday, so you know what that means. It's time to man your battle stations because the sports generals are on patrol. And it's been a little bit of a quiet week in the NFL. Not nearly as crazy as it usually is.
Yeah, compared to weeks past, I would agree with you. Definitely a lot more quiet than the fireworks we had last week.
Oh, yeah. The one big piece of news that I can think of off the top of my head is Stephon Diggs getting an extension with the Buffalo Bills, as well as the Bills are getting a new stadium.
Yeah, that was the 5-year, $125 million extension for Stephon Diggs, and yeah, they got approved for the new stadium. And also, $850 million of that stadium is being paid for by the good people of Buffalo.
Wow. See, they got dedication there, man.
Yeah,
I love Buffalo.
You know what I mean, though? Like, it's like the NFL has how much money, and they're making the citizens of Buffalo pay for 3/4 of the price of the stadium.
Yeah.
Like, man, make your owners pay for that. But anyway, it's a great news for them. You know, they're just happy their team's staying in Buffalo, and now they know they ain't going nowhere. So,
yeah, it belongs to Buffalo.
Do you guys remember when the Bills played a couple games in Toronto?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was tough times, you know, but Buffalo, the Bills Mafia, they travel in doves. So, you know, it still felt like it was a Buffalo game watching them. So,
yeah, I think this is big news, especially for Josh Allen, you know, to have a guy locked in that he knows he can rely on for the next 5 years, you know, because I think Josh Allen's under a lot of pressure this year. I think that the bar is set very high for him. And, so I think this was necessary by the Bills, and he got paid. So good for Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Do you think the window's closing?
I don't know that it's closing, but I know that right now it's wide open. And whenever that window is open, you got to take advantage. You know what I mean?
Right.
The NFL is such a fickle business, you know, with injuries and everything else that can happen, that when the window's open, you better cash in on it. So, yeah, I really like this move by them. And to kind of segue into another big, you know, signing in the past week, Jose Ramirez signed an extension with the Guardians. So that was big news. We'll get to baseball a little bit later, but I just thought it was a similar comparison because it was something that needed to be done. You know, he's the best player on the team. You know, he's a staple in that lineup. And for Stephon Diggs, it's a similar situation. You know, it's like, yeah, you got to pay him a lot of money, and Buffalo's not a huge market, but you know, he's a cornerstone of that offense, and he absolutely deserves it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the crazy part is he still had 2 years left on his contract. So it wasn't even like so it wasn't like they were in a rush to get it done.
Yeah, but they were under a lot of pressure to get it done because he was underpaid. Like he was way overperforming that contract. So there was a little more pressure there, but you're right. In terms of like time, it wasn't a time sensitive thing.
Correct.
Plus, when they do those contracts are usually the signing bonuses and the bulk of the money. They usually come at the beginning of the terms of the deal. So at the back end of the deal is usually like pennies to dollars. So yeah, I'm sure somebody from his camp really wanted to get that reworked out, and they did.
Yeah. Hey, at least the Bills can continue to say we're the only legit New York team because the Jets and Giants both play in New Jersey.
That's right. They're the only team that plays in the state of New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically, yes, that's true.
So I propose that we rename them the New Jersey Giants and the New Jersey Jets.
It used to be like that on Madden. Like if you play John Madden back in like the day, they was called the Jersey Jets.
Yeah, before
then they changed it.
Rights, before they had the name rights, they used to make up all these fake names, and I remember that. John, you're too young for that. Grew up in the era of EA Sports when they had all the licensing rights, and you got to play with the real Cleveland Browns. We were playing with the Cleveland Clowns.
It's funny that you bring up Cleveland Clowns because there have been multiple times, maybe I've said this before on the show, where I wanted to get a giant crane, put a circus tent over First Energy Stadium, go in. I'm going to go a step further with this. Go into the Browns locker room or equipment room, get all the orange helmets, spray paint them white, put a big red nose on and a clown face. There you go. The Cleveland Clowns at the circus.
It was tough times. But if you're a Browns fan, it's so emotional. Your health might be in jeopardy because of how your heart pressure is just dealing with that team. So
yeah,
hey, they put on themselves.
Yeah, call them the cardiac kids for a reason. They definitely deserve that nickname. Even in the offseason, they have us in cardiac arrest over some of their decisions.
Baker Mayfield. What? Sorry, I had a cough.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, speaking of Baker Mayfield, so what is going on? I know, it was a lot of chatter about what's his status, what he's going to do with the team, but it just seemed like it kind of died down. Do you think the Browns is going to keep him going into camp? Because I heard there's 2 dark horse teams that's interested in his services. So
I really don't think that would be a good idea to keep him on the roster. That would be
$15.3 million cap hit.
If you cut him, yeah.
Right.
So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't,
Right. But part of the reason why I'm saying it would be a bad idea to keep him on the roster is because think of how awkward that situation would be. If it's like you have the guy that you drafted number 1 overall and you basically just said, yeah, we don't believe in you anymore. And then you also have the quarterback who you gave up a massive haul to trade for.
Mm-hmm. And we all know Baker. I could see Baker going into camp. Hey, this is my team. Already starting controversy. So it would be extremely awkward. And yeah, the Browns do need to make a move sooner than later.
Right. I agree. I think that the situation is just not doable with him being there. And I don't think Baker wants to be here. He doesn't want to be a backup. So both parties want him gone. So I really do see eventually him being gone. Part of the problem is we can't get any value for a trade for him. Nobody wants to give up anything for Baker. And I don't blame him, but
no, I don't either.
We can't even get a day 2, day 3 pick for Baker Mayfield, and so that's why we're in the position we're in, because, we haven't got any offers that are, worth the deal yet. But I think time's ticking. So eventually they're going to end up they're going to have to deal him somewhere for something. It might be a ham sandwich and a bag of chips, but at least we get something for him,
Yeah.
Cheddar sour cream chips. I think that's a deal right there.
Over Baker Mayfield any day.
I mean, maybe we can go to a team and say, can we take your washer and dryer for Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
Anything at this point.
Yeah, it's each day that goes by, his trade value is declining rapidly, and I think he is to blame for it. Let's say, had he been quiet, no type of media interaction, just chilling, we make the deal for Deshaun, but instead of Baker being childish, he says, you know what? Okay, I understand the team. I got to do what is in the best interest of the team. I'm going to challenge him because I know this is my team. I think he would have won the fans over that way, and he would have helped his trade stock, but he didn't handle it that way. So,
no, he handled it like he handles everything. He's immature about it and unprofessional. So yeah, he's kind of dug himself his own grave. He's created the narrative around him. He's controlled it for a long time. He's gone on shows with guys like Colin Cowherd that have been critical of him, and argued for himself. And it's just I don't know. Just nobody sees enough in him to make it worth the headache that comes with his mouth.
Right. I will say this. Some quarterbacks who end up being career backups make good money still. So I don't get why Baker is making such a big deal about it. I know he was drafted number 1 overall and he was the starting quarterback when we made the playoffs, but still, dude, sometimes it just doesn't work out for you as being a starter. It's all right to hold the clipboard. You still make good money.
Yeah, I mean, he's got so much money. That's not what his motivation is at this time. Right now, I think his biggest motivation is just his ego. He thinks
Yeah.
he's better than he really is. He thinks he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league. So, like, I really think he still believes wholeheartedly that, like, he could be a top 5 quarterback in this league. And it's kind of delusional. So,
Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Just get to, come back home, Baker. Be like, you got to get back to what you did in Oklahoma,
he could be
but
a great backup.
leave the other stuff away. Chase Daniels. If I see him get one more $5 million deal to be a backup, when the last time you ever seen Chase Daniels play in a game?
Yeah, he hasn't had to, and he's one of the richest people.
$5 million a year. It's unreal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, some people are okay with it, but Baker's not. He's got too big of an ego for that to be a backup. So
yeah,
maybe when he grows up, maybe as he gets older, he'll start to realize like, oh, this isn't such a bad gig. But for the time being, he wants to be a starter somewhere. He thinks he deserves to be a starter somewhere. So I don't see him settling and competing for a spot anywhere. Like he wants to go somewhere where they're just going to make him the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's nowhere where that's going to be the case except maybe Seattle, but Seahawks clearly aren't interested, and Carolina said no. So what? I mean,
and I think the Steelers bluffing too. Like they say they'll get him. I don't believe that though.
No, they don't want him. They don't want him. I just don't. I don't believe that. If they wanted him, they could have got him by now. I think that's a lot of noise. But
will we trade in the division though? Because that's when it gets real dicey. Like, okay, if they want to pull our bluff, and they said it's an official offer, kind of putting us in the bind.
I take it. I'd love to go up against Baker Mayfield twice a year. Hell yeah, I'll trade with. Like typically, you don't trade within the division because you don't want to come back to bite you. But I mean, I don't see this coming back to bite us in any way. Like, I don't think that he's going to end up being a starter if he did go there. I don't think you would win that competition with Mitch Trubisky. So,
which is saying something,
right? So that's why I think that's just kind of noise. Like I don't know, but yeah, I wouldn't have a single problem trading him in the division.
You wouldn't have a problem trading him to the Steelers?
No, because what's going to happen? He's not going to. What's he going to do?
Hey, the Browns traded with the Ravens at one point in time in the draft, which was weird, man. It was very bizarre, but we traded with them. I guess these GMs nowadays, unlike the old schools, they are open to, if you come with the right deal, I'll trade within the division. But the old schools, absolutely not. They're not trading with nobody in the AFC North.
Yeah, but you're right. And typically that's the case. But in this instance, it's different because Baker sucks. He's not that good. You know what I mean? Like when you talk about like a guy like Tyreek Hill, like the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to trade him within the division because they know how good he is. You know what I'm saying? So like, typically, yes, you're 100% correct. But in this instance, that rule doesn't apply because Baker stinks. Like he's not. What's he gonna do? Where is he gonna end up in this division? Where he's going to start, one. And then if he does start, are you really concerned about him going up against Myles Garrett? And
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm not worried about that at all. So that's
a turnover waiting to happen.
That's why I think that rule, it just doesn't apply here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think – plus, I don't think Tomlin would want to take on a project like Baker Mayfield.
He's not interested in losing. He's never had a losing season in Pittsburgh, and Baker's a loser. So
that's tough. It's tough love right there. He did get into the playoffs, though. You know how I feel about him. But
fight of him.
Yeah, he's lost his grace.
I agree with you 100%, Brian. We got to the playoffs in spite of Baker, not because of him.
I'll admit, at the time, I thought sure, but in hindsight, when you look at the picture and you see how things have shaken out, it's like, man, it really wasn't as good as we thought it was.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, with the Kansas City game, yeah, we were able to come back, but that was mostly because Patrick Mahomes was injured.
Wow.
Otherwise, we were on our way to getting blown out by like 20.
Right.
And B, we rode the backs of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to get back into that game, not Baker.
Right.
And they didn't even we didn't even run that much, which was bizarre in itself. But Baker threw a turnover to end our aspirations. And yeah, man, that was one of those. I think that was the deciding factor. That upper management was like, you know what, man, I don't think we can win with this guy. Like we can't. You know, I think that made their decision right there.
100%. I'm with you there, Jay. You nailed it.
Yeah, I think James even said on So What's the Catch a couple weeks ago that when we did make the playoff run, it completely derailed what we were going to do because. I'm pretty sure
plans to get a quarterback, and he kind of held our feet against the fire and said, you know, how could you move on from me when I just got you farther than anybody's got you?
Right. So
at the time he had leverage at the time. You know what I mean? He lost that leverage when his performance on the field was terrible. You know what I mean? So yeah, like at one point in time, he had a lot of leverage, you know, and he kind of ruined our plans. But now that leverage is gone because he fizzled out. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
really good point.
Yeah. But overall, this, like we've said multiple times on this show, the NFL offseason this has been the craziest offseason ever.
Yeah, in my lifetime that I can remember. It's been
absolutely. It's been super wild.
I can't remember this many names going to new teams and this amount of money being given out like it's candy.
I know.
So, you know, we haven't did a winners or losers of free agency, or just the offseason in general. So if you guys had to choose, what team do you think basically had the best offseason? Given everything we know now.
Denver had a really good offseason. The Chargers, I feel like, had a good offseason.
I'm going with
AFC West in general.
Yeah.
Great offseason in AFC West. You never lied, Jason.
Except for the Chiefs.
Yeah. I'm going with the Raiders. Getting Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
Man.
That's a good one, Josh. Raiders are up there. Browns got a lot better at quarterback.
Yeah, they did.
So I'd say we were in the winners bracket for the offseason. I still would have liked to have seen them do a couple more things, but we haven't seen what we're going to do in the draft yet. So, you know, they might have something up their sleeve. But yeah, as of right now, I'd put the Browns as winners too. But Josh, once you said Oakland, it reminded me about Chandler Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, that move was critical, man, because they already had they was doing some big things already in Oakland, Las Vegas. But
I still call them
just think about their lineup now, man. Like their offense is going to be lethal, man. And they got Josh McDaniels there, so it's going to be interesting, man.
I put the Green Bay Packers in the losing column.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who the heck is Aaron Rodgers going to throw it to himself?
Yeah, I put the Chiefs in the losing column too. I don't think that Juju is a number one receiver. You know, you're not going to get the production out of him you got from Tyreek Hill.
Absolutely not. Yeah, and they like to throw the ball far.
As of now, I put them as losers too. But again, you know, they've got some draft capital to work with. They might look a lot different when the draft is over. But for now, I put them in the losers bracket too.
I'd say Seattle. I think Seattle lost a lot. Think about this. They lost Brian Wagner. Lost Bobby Wagner. I'm sorry. Bobby Wagner. They lost Russell. They are losing more than they've gained, and they still don't have a quarterback yet.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jay.
Them and the Packers, man.
I would put the Miami Dolphins in the winners bracket.
Yeah, Dolphins definitely in the winners bracket, except for the firing of Brian Flores. I'm I'm putting them in limbo right now. They're in that gray area in between. Because
But you know what I was thinking about the Dolphins though. Yeah, because that was unfortunate they let him go. But let's think about this just from an optimistic standpoint. They got an offensive coach now.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill's been added. They already have, Waddle.
Yeah.
Waddle. I'm sorry, man. I'm all over the place. But they got an office. Their office is lethal. They got an offensive coach. So he's going to bring those Green Bay, pieces there to go ahead and implement into the office. So I think they might be interested on the office. They already had a defense. So we'll see how it goes with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, I do want to interrupt though. Tiger Woods is tied for third place at 1 under after 7 holes.
He's going in now. He's going to make the cut. He's going to make the cut.
Yeah.
I forgot the Masters started today.
He's going to make the cut. I love the Masters.
Yeah, me too. He just chipped to about 4 inches from the cut too. So I think that was to go up and down for par. So yeah.
He look jacked too, man. He look real jacked right now. Like,
oh, bro, he said he's in the best shape of his life.
Yeah, I see it.
That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the leg is the only question mark this weekend.
Right.
Other than that leg, he's hitting the ball great. He showed in that competition with his son Charlie that the ball was coming off his club just like it always has. The only question is going to be, how does that hold up over 18 holes and then inevitably over 72 holes if he makes a cut.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had to throw that out there. I'm a Tigers fan, so I wanted to update any of our live viewers, let everybody know that that's going on right now. There was a weather delay this morning, so it did get pushed back a little bit.
Yeah. According to my official handy dandy mobile computer device, I'll call it that, we are about 5 minutes away from the first pitch across the league for opening day.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I thought first pitch is at 2:30.
For the Guardians, I think it's at 4.
Yeah, the Guardians are at 4, but the first game of the day is at 2. It's the Cubs and the Brewers. Yeah. So MLB doesn't tip off till 2:20.
Huh. I would have thought they would start at 1.
Nope. Cubs and Brewers are on at 2:20. Guardians play at 4:10.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
It's be an interesting season, man. It just feel like due to the negotiation of their new CBA, it just feel like it's been rushed. Like spring training for 2 weeks, and now opening day is today, and it's just like, dang, it's like pump your brakes, slow down, and trust the process.
You're 100% right, Jason. This is a very condensed spring training for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And in a league where some of the star players last year were injured for most of the season, it's not always a good idea to try to rush things and make these guys play before they're ready. So yeah, I'm glad that they're starting today so that we do get a 162 game season. As a fan, I'm glad. But also as a fan, I'm worried that there's going to be a lot of injuries to start.
I thought they cut some games.
No.
Oh,
they didn't? Okay.
Full slate.
The games that were canceled, I think they're gonna make up at various points.
Yeah, they just started 2 weeks late. But still gonna play all 162. But I think that's a really good point, Jay. A lot of these guys have never gone into a major league season with this little preparation together as a team. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
could be a toss-up, because of that. No one's really had a chance to practice. So
that's another good point too. A lot of weirdness could happen this year. We did our picks on So What's the Catch yesterday, and I was pretty confident about a lot of my picks, but then the more I thought about it, it was this is a different kind of season. It's the CBA made things up in the air for a while. Didn't know if baseball was going to be back or not. Guys weren't necessarily in the best shape of their life.
Who was your picks? I'm just curious.
We picked. I picked the White Sox to win our division.
I picked Detroit.
Detroit.
Picked the Tigers. Yeah.
Okay.
But I've got the Dodgers winning the World Series over the Blue
Jays. It's just so call me delusional, but I think the Dodgers, that lineup is probably the best lineup I've seen since Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth and boys. Like
Yo,
they stacked, man.
They're stacked. Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger. I mean, they're just dude.
It's unreal, man.
Yeah. I think that we could see a 110 win Dodger team. I really do.
They the new Yankees. You know, the hate for the Yankees used to be back in the day.
They spend like the Yankees do now.
Yeah, they do, man. But they got the money too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think that this is their year in terms of the way everything's set up for them if everybody can stay healthy. But again, short spring training, a lot can happen. So
yeah. We both had the Dodgers in the World Series. It's just that I had a repeat of what happened in 2018 with the Red Sox beating them.
Yeah. I think the Dodgers might do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had the Red Sox as the last team getting in the American League. They were my third wild card team.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I definitely think they're in the postseason.
Yeah, I agree with you, unfortunately. It's Dodgers all the way.
Yeah, but in terms of the Guardians and our chances, it would take a real miracle to win.
I was really rooting for the Padres last year. It was just, I feel like it was good for the sport. It was good for the game. Just the Padres in general haven't really been a winning organization, but, they kind of fell short towards the end of the season. But
yeah, one of those guys that couldn't stay on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Fernando Tatis has had multiple motorcycle accidents, apparently.
Yeah, more than one. But yeah, there was a moment when everybody was saying Fernando Tatis is he that guy in the game. He was the guy. But now with injuries, guys like Juan Soto have kind of passed him up a little bit. But yeah, he was one of the guys that I was real excited about. I thought for sure this could be the best player in the major leagues.
And the Cardinals, they always keep they probably, besides us, because I do think that the Guardians had one of the best farm systems in baseball, but St. Louis Cardinals by far probably got the best. And historically, they may be able. I mean, we don't know it now, but it seems like the Dodgers going all the way. Cardinals might get them a run. We'll see, though.
Yeah, our farm system's ranked number 8 right now.
Okay,
which is pretty good. So, yeah, we're up there in the top 10 in the farm system.
Yeah.
Now that we re-signed Jose, I don't think that we're in position to make the postseason this year. But, with the young pitchers that we have, great starting pitching, in a year or two, maybe.
Jose never do good in the playoffs, man. And we got to call it out. I mean, it's been multiple times. When we get to postseason, Jose's nowhere to be found.
It's been a while though since he's been there.
Yeah,
he was young. He's in his prime now. I'd be interested to see, how he would do in the postseason now that he's a little bit older, more experienced.
Right.
Plus, he didn't have anybody. When you look at the lineup of the last postseason team he was a part of, he didn't have anybody protecting him. When you're the only hitter in the lineup, they can give you their best pitching every time and give you everything they got.
Exactly.
When you've got a couple guys behind you and a lineup like the Dodgers, it's well, shit, I can't afford to walk Jose because I got Freddie Freeman coming up or Mookie Betts coming up. You know what I mean?
Right.
That makes hitters a lot better. So, yeah, Jose, he didn't really have much help. So, I'll kind of give him the benefit of the doubt for that reason.
Yeah, I'll side with you on this one, Brian.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's been a minute since the Guardians have been there. They've got to make some moves, and unfortunately, the Dolans still own the team, so I'm not really optimistic that's going to happen.
Yeah. Until they sell the team, I feel like it's going to be the same. Business as usual.
Yeah.
That feels about right.
I'm relieved they spent for Jose. There was a chance that they weren't going to do that. It wasn't looking great for a minute. So at least they did that.
But usually arbitration people, I only hear about arbitration with the Guardians, so I'm surprised.
They always let financial situations end up getting worse than they need to be.
Yeah. Like trying to get the new stadium lease.
Yeah, that's been a mess too, huh?
Yeah.
They need to sell the team, man.
I wish that LeBron and his team would buy a stake in the Guardians. That would be awesome.
Eh,
Yeah, Yankees got
They got Red Sox. He's part owner.
Oh,
Of
now he the. I mean, he changed each year. So, here now he Red Sox. Okay,
Yeah, his ownership group bought stake in the Red Sox and Liverpool in England.
that's smart.
Yeah,
That's
I
a smart
wish
move.
it would have been nice to get that investment team on our side.
That's a smart move right there.
did you know
See-
Dwayne Wade partially owns the Utah Jazz?
Yeah,
Dwayne Wade?
yeah,
Yeah.
he do.
Not know
Yeah,
that. No.
2 years now, and
That's
it's
crazy.
interesting, especially if you pay attention when you watch TNT. He always got something great to say about the Jazz, and the guys give him a lot of heat for that because he just pumping his own agenda.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
at least they're doing well. He's a part of something good. Like Jordan really had a hard time with, trying to be a team.
Still have a hard time.
Yeah, he's not much of a team builder.
Yeah.
no.
So yeah, he's at least had some success.
I don't know what percentage stake D Wade has in the Jazz.
It has to be small because he's not a billionaire.
But him and his wife, they pushing. They close.
100 millionaires, but I don't know about billion. Billion's a lot of friggin' money. They're not billionaires. I think LeBron is the only billionaire athlete ever. And the guy I'm watching out of the corner of my eye every other minute, Tiger Woods.
But speaking of LeBron, though, because that's fascinating. The Lakers, those that's tuning in that's not aware, the Lakers were officially eliminated.
Yeah,
and his legacy starting to take some hits because of this, man. I'm just curious where you guys stand. I think it's valid that he takes a hit for this, and he gives off that impression that, oh, I'm just here, man. I'm cool with these guys, but I'm doing me. Like, his whole his entire camp, like, he separates himself from the team, and it feels like the buzz.
I get what you're saying. Like, I think it's fair to be critical of LeBron, the GM, and him the way he's put together some of these teams and his influence on that. But in terms of his play, though, I mean, he's scoring more points than he's ever scored in his entire career at age 38. So like he had a really great year statistically. So I don't think that his play we can be a hypercritical of, but his team building, like LeBron, the GM, like deciding that Westbrook was a better piece than DeRozan.
Or Buddy Hield.
Like, he had a big part of that. So, yeah, I think that's really fair. Like, his legacy as a team builder, like, he put together a clunker.
I think those numbers are smashed, though, man. And it's skewed because he's chasing a record. And if you watch them, he's only out there because I'm just trying to chase the record. Yeah, I got the Lakers uniform on. I'm just trying to chase the record. He used to make people better. He don't make anyone better now. He don't play defense at all. And he just shooting. He's jacking up, 25, 27 shots a game. He'll take games off against the big teams, but when he play them small, like the Pacers or someone, he's going to play. It's kind of bizarre.
It's because he knows he's out of the playoffs, so he's just going for the scoring title. But
he's out. He's injured right now. He's not even playing the rest of the year.
Yeah.
This season. So, he's not catching anything now. But I don't know. To me, I think LeBron doesn't. I personally think he only cares about rings. Like, I think I think he likes the idea of being the all-time scoring leader. But I think he pictures himself as more than a scorer. So, like, I don't know. I think to him, he'd rather win a ring than be the leader and all-time leading scorer.
I'm gonna have to give you some pushback on that. I think that he used to care about rings. I think the move initially that he made to go back to LA, that kind of put his cards on the table and let you know where he was at with it. Because at the time, they already didn't have a team built. So if he was really trying to win rings, he would have went somewhere else versus the Lakers. But it was more about the movies, off the court stuff. And I think that, some people say I can look too deep into it, but when The Last Dance was released, right, and people were starting to say, well, Jordan this, Jordan that, I think that got to his head, and he like, man, what's the only thing that I haven't got yet over him? Scoring. So let me get the scoring title because now I'm the number 1 scorer ever. I'm number 5 in rebounds or so, or he's up there, and he's trying to get that assist record, which that's elite. He won a ring. Here we go with that light again. He won a ring, but LA is like, you didn't win a ring in Staples Center. You won that in the bubble. That really doesn't count to us. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of, the greats is starting to talk at him, like the Magic, Kareem. They starting to turn on him.
Yeah, it's interesting. They definitely didn't embrace LeBron as a Laker in the way they embraced Kobe. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's partially because LeBron was already established himself. Like he had established himself in Cleveland. He had established himself in Miami. Like Kobe, on the other hand, rest in peace, he spent his whole career with the Lakers. So he was a homegrown guy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he could go as a mercenary and people would embrace him like Kobe, but he was wrong.
No.
They just haven't.
Yeah. But he should have known, and that's what he should know that. If anybody's the most self-aware person in America, right, it's LeBron James. I would think somebody in his camp would have told him that. But again, it's not about winning. It's about, and he's gonna get that money in LA. I get that. He's doing the production. He's got some business ventures going on there. I get that part. But the team he didn't construct it, and then he doing the same things he did here. Whereas I didn't say that. I didn't want to try to trade Westbrook. And then Jenny Buss is pushing back on him like, oh no, this is your guy. You wanted him. You stuck with him.
Yeah.
So it's like now it's a tug of war.
Yeah.
I think part of LeBron's issue is that he thinks that everybody can do what he does at age 38. He thinks, just because he can score 30 points a game at his age, he thinks that Carmelo will do it or Russell will do it. Like the fact of the matter is these guys get older, they decline in talent. Like it hasn't happened to LeBron yet, but it'll happen to him eventually. And
just
I think
like it will happen to Brady at some point.
Yep.
Chief, I can't drive my car with my leg set a certain way because of age. So
LeBron has learned in his time in LA that like I can't rely on my friends anymore that were in my draft class to help me win. Like I need to get younger. So I think that they're gonna blow up that team and look completely different. Or he's going elsewhere.
Hey, speaking of getting younger, or in this case, getting a year older, happy birthday, Jason.
Yeah.
You guys. Thank you. That was a shock. Thank you. I appreciate it, though.
Mason, a shout out. He's an entire 31 years old today. Right, Jay?
21. 21, and I'm legal to drink.
Yeah, so you enjoy yourself. Just don't try, buddy.
Yes.
No, I appreciate it, man.
You got any good plans for the weekend? Anything fun?
Man, just probably watching the Masters, hanging out with family and friends, and probably get some icy hot or something. Because talking this age, I'm telling you, man, Brian, the level he's playing at is amazing. Okay, yeah. I want to be clear with that. He's doing stuff that I've never seen done. I just watch him and marvel at it. But me, I can't even walk to the kitchen and not turn my leg gingerly or something, walking awkward.
Yeah, you're not saying LeBron's bad or he's not good anymore. What you're doing, you're holding LeBron to a higher standard because you think he's that great. If that's my understanding of it.
He's that. What it is, he's that great. I don't want the misconception that he is mentally how he was back in the day where he was chasing rings. I don't think he's that same guy no more. I think I want the scoring title.
Mm-hmm.
I think these players are better on the team because they play good with me. But then when it hits the fan and you see Westbrook he's always been this way.
Mm-hmm.
So LeBron like, well, I could change him, and then you find out he can't change him.
Yeah.
And then he don't want he's not taking accountability, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Let me ask you guys this. Does the Lakers being eliminated from the playoffs and having this embarrassing of a season increase the chances that LeBron might be interested in coming back to Cleveland? I know you're not crazy about the idea. I'm just saying from his mindset. Do you think that entered his mind?
I think so. I think so.
Because we know LeBron does what LeBron wants to do. He'll make it happen somehow. If he wants that done, he'll figure out a way to get it done. So
Right.
I'm not asking if you think that the Cavs will be better with him or anything like that, or who would you give up for him? Just do you think LeBron in his head is thinking, you know what, I really do want to go home?
I do. And we talked about this at the All-Star break. He was starting to plan his trap then.
He was playing.
So he's leaking stuff.
Yeah.
He picks Cavaliers to be on his All-Star team for a reason. Mm-hmm. And now this team is collapsing.
He got real hype over Deshaun Watson being a Cleveland Brown. And
like
welcome home to Cleveland, and
welcome home, right? Home.
Yeah,
he does a lot of stuff, man, that the general public may not pay attention to, but I've noticed everything he does is calculated, and there's a reason for it. Okay, and Lakers collapse. He's spelling. Anytime he comes to a team, they're cool, but then when he notices bad, I'm out.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: coming kind of on the back of what you were asking, Brian, does this Lakers failure of a season officially close the door on the GOAT conversation between him and Jordan?
That's a good question.
For me, I closed the door on it a long time ago. I'm in the Jordan camp heavy. I love Michael Jordan. It's nothing against LeBron. Just Jordan's that good. But I will say I don't think that door is closed for everybody yet. I think he still has it in him to win another title or two. And him having 5 titles as opposed to only, 4 sounds a lot better. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know that it's closed completely, but he's going to need to do something drastic to find himself on a postseason team again.
I'll tell you this, with our generation, I think it was close, but the younger guys, the more he get the scoring title. Yeah. He get the scoring record rather. He gets the assist record, and then he gets top 5 in rebounds. Yeah. I think the younger generation will have a different argument than us, because I think they're going to be Team LeBron.
I think when it's all said and done, a lot more people will say LeBron is the GOAT than they do now. But I know I'm not going to change it.
I'm not either. My bed's made. All right, I'm Jordan.
Generation is going to look at that record and go, oh, well, scored the most points of all time in a game where you have to score the most points to win. He's probably the best player. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy narrative to fall into.
So you look at the inside.
It's a lot of people will look at that and say, duh, he's the GOAT. He has the most points. And it's a hard thing to argue against. But, we know as sports fans and sports, people who follow basketball, there's an eyeball test to it too. You know what you see. You know what you see. And to me, I haven't seen the Jordan moments that I saw as a kid watching him play in LeBron.
I agree.
He's had a few of them, really good, awesome Jordan-like moments. But with Jordan, it was every year. Every year there was a moment like that. You know what I mean?
I've seen 2 from him. 2.
Yeah, I agree. We're probably thinking of the same 2.
The Orlando Magic game, the Cavs, when you get that game winner.
Yeah.
And let me think hard for this one. So you see where it's at. That's not the case with Jordan.
Points against the Pistons early in his career when he
was unstoppable, man.
Yeah, that was a moment where I was like, oh, this guy is different. But yeah, Jordan had moments like that every year, every postseason. With LeBron, it's kind of every 4 or 5 years you get a Jordan-like moment,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he has these off years between them. So
right. By the way, King to ZG says happy birthday.
That's what's up.
Appreciate it.
And Brian also says happy birthday.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
even though I didn't get to watch Jordan like you guys did, which is so unfortunate because I've
Yeah.
only been forced to watch highlights and stuff.
I shed a tear because of that for you. Yeah.
I
transcendent. Yeah.
Trust me, I still appreciate him. Maybe not quite as much as you guys do, but I still very much appreciate him. He's still the GOAT for me, hands down. And I've explained this to you before, but I'll say it again. Championships are secondary for me. When you think of Jordan, you think of him in a Chicago Bulls jersey. I get it. Most people are going to think of LeBron right away in a Cavaliers jersey, more likely than not. But he went Cleveland, Miami, back to Cleveland, now the Lakers. Like he could
get his jersey retired in 3 teams.
Yeah, that to me, I don't hold that against him, Josh, because it's so rare to be drafted by a team and stay there your whole career. Even if LeBron wanted to stay in Cleveland his whole career, contract situations, you never know. Like it might not have worked out,
Right, I get.
But you're saying because he left by choice that it diminishes his legacy?
I'm not trying to say that necessarily diminishes his legacy. I just think, I'm just saying when you think of Jordan, you think of him more in a Bulls jersey.
That makes sense. I mean, when you think of Kobe, you think of a Lakers jersey. But yeah, you always are going to think that with guys that play their whole career in one place.
I could be man, you guys know this about me. I could be devil's advocate on any scenario, right? But let's think about the Jordan. He quit on his team twice. He retired twice, right?
He retired twice?
We went to the Wizards. They didn't go to the playoffs. Right? Yeah. LeBron at the same age. Jordan was retired at the same age that LeBron is now, 37. But LeBron didn't go to college, right? So it's certain things where it's like the numbers kind of skewed because of that.
Yeah, you're right. Jordan had years where he wasn't even playing, and they were in his prime. That's the other thing. He was at his athletic peak when he retired both times. Like it's a different animal than LeBron. Like LeBron's had off years, but he's still playing. He lost to the Magic. You remember? Okay, yes, he won 3 rings, and then he retired. They lost to the Magic when he came back. I don't know if people really understand that. And then Magic played the Rockets. And then, of course, they went and won 3 more rings. But Jordan didn't get to the finals. It took him 9 years. Okay, so he was going to the playoffs, getting knocked. He was just scoring. It was all about me, making no one better. And then he hit that switch. But LeBron, I mean, we could, I feel a certain kind of way about him. But at the end of the day, what's real is real. Yeah. He's made the playoffs every year pretty much, except for 4 years? First couple of years of his career, and then there was a year before this year with LA.
Finals for 10 straight years in a row. Like, that's unprecedented.
Yeah,
that's
unreal.
Still Team Jordan, though.
He's done some stuff that's never been done before. He'll definitely own some records that he'll stand alone with. And he'll have some accomplishments that Jordan won't be able to say he has. But at the end of the day, I do think Jordan's still going to be able to say, yeah, but I'm the GOAT.
Jordan accomplished this. He has my heart.
Jordan doesn't have the scoring record, too, Jason, is because he took those years off. If Jordan played as many years as LeBron in the league, he would definitely have.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. Yes, 100%.
So that argument for people who say, yeah, well, he's the all-time leading scorer, I challenge that argument with that. And
kids don't do research, though. So kids is going to look at the numbers. Well, this is what I see. And like you said, they're not going to look at the actual reason to why it is.
That's why, I feel like the younger generation, they're going to end up saying maybe Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT over Tom Brady.
That's unfortunate. They is, though.
But it's the same thing that you're talking about, Jay, where our generation, we know Tom Brady is the GOAT. But the younger generation, they're going to look at Brady and be like, okay, he's an old dude. What?
Right.
Big whoop. I like what this guy's doing instead.
They're looking at the talent versus the fundamentals. the
Bingo.
preparation, practice, that giving it your all every single game, holding people accountable. Kids don't care about that part. They just care about, oh, he could throw the ball 70 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he could throw it behind his back. He could throw it without look. Like, come on, man. It's more to the game.
Yeah.
Preparation is the most important element of sports, and a lot of people won't figure that out till it's too late.
Yeah, I think that there's at least an argument for LeBron versus Jordan. With Tom Brady, there's no argument for anybody. There's nobody that challenges it. You know what I mean? So that it's a little bit different, but same concept though. Titles versus, like a guy like Rodgers. Like Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time athletically, but won Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a lot of different ways to look at greatness, and I think you have to look at it holistically and take every factor into account. And when you do that, then I think that it's clear that MJ over LeBron.
Absolutely.
Brady over Mahomes.
Absolutely.
You know what's interesting though? Whenever like people have these types of GOAT discussions, they only ever talk about football and basketball. You never hear like any type of GOAT discussion, at least I haven't, in terms of baseball or hockey. Like
it's because it's harder to dominate to that extent. You know what I mean? Like even the best player in the league is failing 60% of the time. You know what I mean? So it's a different type of way. Like one player cannot dominate a baseball game in the way that one player can dominate.
But you know who? There was one, and I'm old enough to Barry Bonds. Yes, I understand the steroid part, but I have never, and I'm a baseball fanatic, I have never seen a guy that has so much of an impact where I think the shift started, like infield was shift because of him. They will walk him intentionally. It could be bases loaded and they're still going to walk him. And I've never seen that before, man. And you just knew if he's made contact with that ball, it's going. And I think Barry Bonds, I was a Ken Griffey guy personally. I thought naturally Ken Griffey was the best player ever. But Barry Bonds, man. Yeah.
Me, it's Mike Trout. I think Mike Trout's the GOAT, hands down.
Think so?
Yeah, I really do.
I'll take Ken Griffey over him.
In terms of a player, and Griffey with the injuries and stuff that happened to him, he just didn't have the same level of success that he did during his prime.
And Barry Bonds.
Trout has been in his prime since he's entered the league, and just his numbers, wins above replacement, are just so far above anybody else that's not even close, unless you look at like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, guys that were playing in the 20s and 30s, when it was a different game. So for me, I think Mike Trout's the GOAT in baseball.
I would think Manny Ramirez is better than Trout.
No.
Overall career? Yeah.
No.
Hey, you know me, Brian. Hey, I love the debate. I can name a few guys. I mean, Trout he's the best today as far as what's going on now. But man, I don't know, man. I mean, Miguel from Detroit.
Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera.
Cabrera, yeah. He's a Hall of Famer, I would think, right? You agree with that?
Yeah, for sure.
He hit better than Trout. So that's a tough one. That's a tough argument, but I think Ken Griffey and Barry Bonds by far is better than him.
I would challenge you to look at the statistics a little deeper. Because Trout's numbers are insane. They're really insane.
And would you say the GOAT in the NHL is Gretzky?
Oh yeah, hands down. I don't think so. For the GOAT discussion, I think that Gretzky is the clear GOAT in hockey.
Yeah, he is. I was a Mario Lemieux guy, but I'm Gretzky.
Josh, that you don't hear about it in hockey, because you definitely do. It's Wayne Gretzky,
the great one.
Yeah. Okay. Baseball's the only.
You don't think like Crosby? You don't think Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin could ever challenge Gretzky?
Not even close.
And Ovechkin, I remember when they first came into the league, everybody like Sid the Kid. But I think Ovechkin is better than Sid the Kid.
There's a lot of different ways to look at hockey. A lot
No,
of people
sir.
argue that, Josh. A lot of people think he is. I think you're wrong. But,
Tougher. I don't know. I mean, it's a debate though, but none of them is better than the chosen one. So we
No,
get in that debate. Yeah, we get in that talk.
He has every friggin' record. That guy owns more records in hockey than anybody in any other sport would in their own sport.
What's the kid from the Maples?
Yeah.
Austin
Think,
Matthews.
is he like supposed to be considered the next?
Austin Matthews?
Is that the next guy? Like,
he's one of the best players in the league right now. Yeah.
Okay.
But Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid. There's a lot of young players that challenge for the greatest in the league right now.
But they ain't touching Gretzky.
No.
I feel it.
No. Yeah. I
meant more when I said like you don't hear the GOAT discussion, I meant more like, what we were talking about with the NBA, like Jordan versus LeBron type thing. Like,
that's because there's nobody to hold up against Gretzky. Yeah. That's what I was saying was like the LeBron and Jordan debate. It's the only sport where you have like two people that you kind of hold against each other. Whereas NFL, it's Brady, NHL, it's Wayne Gretzky.
But even in the NFL, it was Brady and Joe Montana until he eventually eclipsed them. Yeah,
it was, but not anymore. Clear as day now. Brady's the GOAT.
Right, and it's also that Mahomes lost to Brady in the Super Bowl, so
yeah, they had the head record. I mean, that matters too. But all right, well, that's gonna do it for this week. We've already gone through an hour. Jason, happy birthday, my brother. I hope you
appreciate it.
And we all gotta say quick, go Guardians. I think they win tonight. I think Bieber pitches a gem. They win tonight. So I'm predicting a Guardians W.
Let's go Guardians.
Yes. We will see you on the next episode.
All right. See you
guys. All right, y'all. Peace.